like the best person that I can be.
Trevor?
What a shifted position now, or at least movement. It was going west-northwest. Now it's going north. So it's made this turn and is expected to continue to make the turn and then accelerate and come ashore very near Apalachicola and then pass north of Jacksonville on Thursday. Now, if this system goes as planned, then we will see possibly some wind gusts here of near 50 miles per hour, at least as showers and thunderstorms fly on by during the day on Thursday. That is from Tropical Storm Bonnie. The projection is that Bonnie will become a hurricane, a minimal hurricane, and then affect us on Thursday. What about Charley? There you see Charley. Highest winds are only now 50 miles per hour, but Charley is expected to intensify. Charley could possibly become a major hurricane, and notice Charley's motion. Charley's expected to make a turn toward the northwest and to the north and may provide us with thunderstorms again, at the very least, come Sunday. So again, keep your eyes on both.
But rather just some showers and thunderstorms in advance of a frontal system that is going to help steer Bonnie in our direction. On the other hand, Charley beginning to spread some rain now over Puerto Rico and Hispaniola, that is Haiti and the Dominican Republic, and the radar out of San Juan picking up those showers, heavy at times, certainly some gusty winds there. Take a look at...
Again.
Welcome back to Afternoon Outlook. Time now for a look at the tropics.
Of course, we continue to track Tropical Storm Bonnie in the Gulf of Mexico.
Let's give you the very latest coordinates for Bonnie. Now we'll watch it as it moved off the Yucatan Peninsula here over the last day or two. It's struggled at times with northeasterly wind shear. Currently, it's still undergoing some shear. The latest that we have from the Hurricane Center, 50-mile-an-hour winds, movement north at 6, maybe even a little east of north, and the central pressure from the hurricane hunters at 1,003 millibars.
Now, natural gas production is already feeling the impact of Bonnie. Some Gulf oil and gas platforms in the Gulf have shut down. Apache Corporation evacuated some employees from its gas platform. Royal Dutch Shell Group has also halted work on its rigs. Let's turn it over now to our hurricane expert, Dr. Steve Lyons.
And Dr. Steve, Bonnie, actually what we're hearing from the Hurricane Center and looking on satellite appears to be, well, it's definitely not strengthening, let's put it that way.
That's right, Jeff. It's the good news. The thunderstorms around the circulation center are sort of waning this afternoon, but it is a potent little circulation. You can see it right there, and they're still shooting some new thunderstorms up. So we expect this system to continue to move to the northeast, then to the northeast along this shower band that you see here, heading generally toward the Florida Panhandle over the next couple of days. The good news is this circulation is so small that the wave heights around away from the circulation are really very low. So unless you're right in the path of this circulation, you're not going to be disrupted in your oil and gas activities out in the Gulf of Mexico whatsoever. Now let's look at a little bit of what's going on relative to the track. Expected to go ahead and take a turn toward the northeast, heading the general direction of Panama City area, the Appalachia Bay area in the extreme eastern portion of the quadrant, and the Pensacola area in the western portions. Time frame sometime mid-Thursday, late Thursday, or into early Friday morning, and then continuing on. Once it comes over the coast, we think it's going to weaken quickly to a tropical depression and then basically be just a remnant system. Now, what do we expect from it impact-wise? Very little on the way of wave action. Very small cone of winds. It could be a hurricane at landfall, but right now it's not looking like that's going to happen. We should see some tropical storm or hurricane watches or warnings come up for the Gulf of Mexico for that system later tonight or early tomorrow morning. Now, right on its heels, we have Tropical Storm Bonnie, and this system, rather than meandering around, is flying to the west-northwest at 26 miles an hour, continues to accelerate south of Dominican Republic now. It'll be heading in the general direction of Jamaica here over the next 24 hours. There's Jamaica. Here's the circulation down here, and you can see it moving fairly quickly. It continues to show signs of strengthening. Now tonight, Puerto Rico, you're almost out of it, some passing showers. Dominican Republic and Haiti, heavy rain tonight, increasing winds out of the southeast. But the real threat here is on the extreme western portions of Haiti and in Jamaica over the next 24 hours. And for that reason, we have some tropical storm advisories up, some tropical storm warnings up for this portion of Haiti, tropical storm warning up for Jamaica. And for the Cayman Islands, we have a watch up because it's a little farther away. And we do expect this system to become a hurricane in the northern, very northern portions of the Caribbean Sea. So we'll continue to monitor that as it moves toward the northwest very quickly. In the meantime, we have a low-pressure system off the Florida coast moving off to the northeast, and showers and a little bit of thunderstorm activity and a lot of cloud is over Bermuda. This system is going to move just to the north of Bermuda, bring some blustery weather there the next 24 to 30 hours and then be gone. If it does develop, we don't expect much impact for Bermuda other than the rain and the clouds. And finally, the remainder of the Atlantic is quiet, and the eastern Pacific, great news there. We're monitoring this one cluster of showers moving away from the coast. So let's get back to Storm Watch now with Jeff and Vivian.
Okay, and as we look at the threat of severe weather today, we've outlined in the
For tonight, scattered thunderstorms, low 76. Winds south-southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance of rain 80%. And on Wednesday, scattered thunderstorms, high 90. Winds south-southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance of rain 40%. And Wednesday night, scattered thunderstorms, low 76. Winds south-southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance of rain 50%. Your 7-day outlook.
You're watching the Weather Channel. Live by it.
Up next on PM Edition, 2 tropical storms. Both are on the move towards the Gulf Coast. The latest on tropical storms Bonnie and Charley next. And summer tornadoes twist through parts of Colorado, dumping hail so heavy it cracked this windshield. More severe weather is possible tonight. Details next on PM Edition, which begins right now.
Live from the Weather Channel, this is PM Edition.
Hello and welcome to PM Edition. I'm Carl Parker.
And I'm Christina Abernathy. Thanks for joining us for PM Edition.
Our top story tonight is Tropical Storm Bonnie. Right now the storm is moving northwest and it could head toward the Florida Panhandle in the next couple of days.
Well, let's take a look at Bonnie and how it's been shaping up over the last few days. And you can see it here north of the Yucatan Peninsula. And again, it is now a tropical storm, and you can see it here in the Gulf of Mexico with winds of 50 miles per hour, moving to the north at 6 miles per hour. The pressure 1,003 millibars, and again, it's expected to move off to the north and eventually off to the northeast. Here is what we're seeing with Tropical Storm Charley. The satellite picture over the past 2 days shows it as a low, then again turning into that tropical storm, and it is now packing winds of 50 miles per hour, moving to the west-northwest at 26 miles per hour, and its pressure 999 millibars, and that center is about 440 miles east-southeast of Kingston, Jamaica. Now we'll look at what's going on a little closer to home. Here's Carl.
And we want to take you first of all into Georgia.
Threat of these storms on the back burner, but if one of them were to come our way, would Jacksonville be ready? Our Eye on the Storm team coverage continues now with Channel 4's Jim Piggott. He spent the day with emergency officials to find out how prepared we are. Jim?
We're standing right here near McCoy's Creek, and I'll tell you, normally when I'm here, this area is underwater. Today, well, it's very clear, but we wanted to see if the city is really prepared, so I want to show you the creek. Take a look down here. You can see it's all overgrown. There's trash in here. Really, if we get the rains that Brad is talking about, this is going to be a mess. Johnny Hammond lives right near the worst flooding area in Jacksonville, McCoy's Creek. He's not surprised the city isn't out here clearing the creek of trash and weeds to help keep floodwaters down. This is what he's used to seeing when the rains come. Severe flooding in this area. What he doesn't expect to see is the city preparing for it.
Got to do a lot of work, though. They ain't started on no work, so the storm that coming got to be here before they get through it.
So we went hunting today to see where the city is working. We caught up with these crews clearing these culverts near Normandy and Ellis Road. Supervisors say it's normal maintenance. As for the upcoming storms, they will have crews on standby to come out after the rains hit, and then they'll clear the drains near the flooded areas. Construction crews are also keeping an eye on these storms. With so much work going on in Jacksonville, they'll have to move quickly if the storms hit.
We're aware of what's going on, so we have to move equipment, quit work, we'll have plenty of time not to impede the roadway.
We already found some potential problems. Look at this drain near the construction of the new library downtown. The straw is there to keep construction debris out, but as you can see, it doesn't allow the water to flow in. Imagine what would happen during a storm. Right now, the Emergency Operations Center is standing by.
Being able to do some equipment checks, being able to get some of the new equipment that we've got installed to help us with communications, doing some checks on that, and then also monitoring the systems in conjunction with the State Emergency Operations Center.
Also have a couple of things that you can do, say in your backyard. If you've got some branches that need to be trimmed, things that could cause problems during a storm, now's the best time to take care of it when the weather is good, because you're not going to want to get out in it when it's raining. We're live from McCoy's Creek. I'm Jim Piggott.
And stay with Channel 4, the Weather Authority, for the latest on tropical storms Bonnie and Charley. And remember, you can check out radar at any time on news4jax.com.
Detectives are investigating an afternoon shooting on the east side. It was in the 1100 block of Franklin Street. According to police, the victim was outside working on his car when someone walked up and opened fire.
Photojournalist Phil Whitley from our St. Johns County Bureau was on the scene as the
Talk about the tropics. It is that time of year, and we do have a couple of systems that we're watching right now.
That's right, 2 tropical storms, and let's take a look at the latest on both of these. The first is Tropical Storm Bonnie. Here's how it looks over the past 2 days, and you can see it here in the Gulf of Mexico. And it's now, again, a tropical storm, and it's centered about 315 miles south-southwest of the mouth of the Mississippi River. Winds 50 miles per hour now, and it's moving north at 6 miles per hour. The pressure now down to 1,003 millibars. So we're continuing to watch that, as well as Tropical Storm Charley, which is here in the Caribbean. We saw it move in as a low, and now strengthening up to a tropical storm strength system, and it's packing winds of about 50 miles per hour, moving off to the west-northwest, and its pressure down to 999 millibars. And as it moves on through the Caribbean, there is a possibility that we could see ultimately some further strengthening with the system, and of course we'll have more throughout the hour.
Though it hasn't been that hot of a summer in most of the lower 48, we're at the time of the year known as the dog days. Our storm analyst Dr. John Neese has more on the dog days of summer.
Different story in the west. You've got the ridge in place, and that means some warm conditions there, but again, the east is feeling unusually chilly weather. The heat is retreating in the west, though, so you will get a little bit of relief from the heat, but again, that cool weather sticks around, especially in the northeast. And again, we're going to be watching Bonnie, and then Charley maybe. Will it begin to affect some area of the Gulf? We'll have to wait and see. Let's take a look at the weather for your Wednesday, and we'll look for some pretty nasty thunderstorms western Texas up into Colorado. And as we go into Thursday, watching the tropics, watching Bonnie, because there is that possibility that we could see it moving closer to the northern Gulf here. So keep checking back in for your tropical update at 50 past each hour, and we'll continue to keep you updated as that forecast becomes clearer. If that does so, it's going to bring a lot of moisture as the front is approaching and that system approaches. It could mean a very soggy time for the southeast. On into our Saturday, isolated thunderstorms in the southeast, and again, watching the tropics for possibly Charley, and that it could mean more wet weather for the southeast and perhaps the eastern states. So looks like we're in for some interesting weather here as we go on through the forecast. As we go into your temperatures, here's that cool weather we've been talking about. Lots of 50s and 60s and 70s, and not what you expect to see for this time of year at all. You would see temperatures even in the triple digits in some of these areas. Not unusual at this time of year.
11 o'clock on our newscast produced by a producer who surfs. Well, he's finally throwing up his hands and saying, that's it. If the contractor won't show up, I'll do it. It's been 6 months, and on your side anchor Ken Amaro is here now with more on this. Maybe dealers once in a while, you know?
Car dealers?
Indeed. We are dealing with 2 tropical systems. Now, first, let's put it in perspective. Bonnie is still a tropical storm, 700 miles to our southwest. Charley is still a tropical storm, 1,300 miles to our southeast. Locally, plenty of clouds out there, but just a few widely scattered showers. It's the long term where we have some concern, and here's why. First of all, you may want to pull out your tracks or your tracking chart if you haven't already, and let's track Bonnie. Bonnie is, again, with winds of 50 miles per hour. That's about 700 miles, located at 24.7 north and 90.5 west. As far as where Bonnie is going to go, it should be off to the north and then northeast. And if that goes as planned, as a minimal hurricane west of Apalachicola, passes north of us, and then wind gusts in Jacksonville, possibly to 50 miles per hour on Thursday with thunderstorms. Then there's Charley, 50-mile-per-hour winds right now, 15.2, 70.8. That's over possibly a major hurricane flying by Jacksonville on Sunday with wind gusts to 70 miles per hour. So both storms, although possibly coming at us from the west and by then possibly hurricanes, could be big weather makers for us. Okay, with that said, let's talk about tomorrow. Showers and thunderstorms tomorrow, but not because of Bonnie. In fact, as we go off to the northwest from St. Augustine, across downtown and off to the northwest along the Florida-Georgia border, we'll actually see the showers and thunderstorms, or at least the chances of, decrease. Think of tomorrow as very close to a typical summer day. Putting it all together for you, here's what we have. Winds tomorrow, not too bad, but again, all of that will change as upper-level flow out of the west should pick up Bonnie and recurve Bonnie toward the northeast. That's why the 5-day outlook looks like this. Southerly winds at 20, gust of 50 possible Thursday. Then we get a break, and then later Saturday and Sunday, we watch what could be significant Hurricane Charley to our south. Charley?
All right, thank you so much, Tim. Well, we told you earlier in the newscast about Florida's education commissioner resigning. Tonight at 7, local school officials react to Jim Horn's resignation. Deanna Finet joins us now with more.
Well, Charlene, we'll talk to Duval County School Superintendent John Fryer tonight at 7 on ABC 25, and you'll get a chance to tell us what effect, if any, you think this resignation will have on the state of Florida schools.
Their heavy rain could be headed our way. The race for Clay County's top cop heats up. The sheriff and 2 men who want his job are getting ready for a big debate. And the ground gives way. An amazing slide down a hill, all caught on tape.
Live from WJXT Channel 4, this is the one and only Eyewitness News.
Good evening, I'm Sam Kavaris in for Rob Sweeting. 2 tropical storms are threatening to bring wind and wet weather to North Florida by the weekend.
It's our big story at 6:30. Double trouble in the tropics. The storm close to us, Bonnie, is now in the Gulf. It could come ashore along the Panhandle this Thursday. And further down in the tropics, a new storm named Charley could head into the Gulf by the weekend. Senior meteorologist Brad Nitz has his eye on the storm and joins us now to show us the storm's path. Brad?
Both of these storms, both Bonnie in the Gulf and Charley in the Caribbean, could have a direct impact on our local weather. It looks very likely that Bonnie will. It has maximum sustained winds of 50 miles an hour. If you're tracking it, here's the latitude and longitude, and the center of circulation a little more than 600 miles to our southwest. Now, it has been, over the last day or so, moving northwest. It's taken that expected turn to the north, and then eventually, likely sometime tomorrow, taking a turn towards the northeast. All the while, we could see some strengthening, so by late tomorrow, this could be Hurricane Bonnie, and then it's likely that this will be making landfall sometime on Thursday over the Panhandle. The orange is the actual forecast track. The yellow indicates the average margin of error of those forecast positions. So we're certainly within the cone that is under the threat area. It seems most likely that Bonnie will be passing to our immediate north and west, so close enough to bring us some wet weather and some windy conditions. Although if it does follow this track, I don't think we'll see much, if anything, as far as damaging winds go. But it's certainly too close for comfort, something we'll need to watch carefully and you'll need to stay tuned for. Same story for Charley, although it's still several days away. It looks like it's going to move through the Caribbean, the eastern Gulf of Mexico, and then up into North Florida, which means it could be impacting our weather for Saturday or Sunday. And I'll have details on exactly what we expect will happen with that. And, of course, talk about the uncertainty in all of this coming up in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Brad. Make sure you are prepared for the worst. Picked up a copy of Channel 4's Eye on the Storm, Hurricane, and Disaster Guide. You can get one at any Winn-Dixie supermarket. And stay tuned to Channel 4, the Weather Authority, for updates whenever weather comes our way. You can also get an updated forecast anytime at news4jax.com.
New at 6:30, the coast
To slip. Luckily, no one was hurt, but the landslide did block a mountain road. Unbelievable video. Meanwhile, here in Jacksonville, the skies were sunnier out early today, but 2 big storms now forming in the tropics could bring some heavy rain by the weekend. Here's Brad to tell us about the storms in his TrueView forecast.
Do have a little bit of rain out there right now in Live Doppler 4.0, but mainly scattered light showers around the Jacksonville metro area, especially out towards the beaches and up into South Georgia. But some heavy rain near Gainesville and Alachua County. That'll spread east into Putnam County, and also most of the heavy rain you can see here north and west of Valdosta, back towards Tallahassee, east of Apalachicola, and that's all moving towards the east. You can see the motion here in the development of this thunderstorm near and just to the south of Gainesville. In addition to this rain, some rain, heavy certainly, over sections of Hispaniola and Puerto Rico. This is associated with Tropical Storm Charley that is out in the Caribbean. Let's take a look at Charley and its expected forecast track. It's now south of Hispaniola, moving towards the northwest. It's expected to take a sharp turn to the north by the end of the week across western Cuba, the eastern Gulf of Mexico. The orange is the actual forecast track, which takes it very close to us by the weekend, but you can see the margin of error is pretty wide when you get 5 days out. But this is something we're going to need to watch very carefully for the next several days. It is certainly going to be a little too close for comfort at the very least. Here's a bigger view of the tropics. There's Bonnie, and this is Tropical Storm Charley. We'll come in close to Charley, get the particulars, 15.2 north, 70.8 west. If you're tracking that, that puts the center at about 1,262 miles away from us. 50-mile-an-hour sustained winds, gusts to 65, but look at this. It's moving very quickly to the west-northwest at 26 miles an hour, and minimum central pressure 999 millibars. And then farther to the west, into the Gulf of Mexico, this is Tropical Storm Bonnie. In fact, you see the center is here, although most of the storms to the north or to the south and west, rather, the center, so it's not very well organized at this point. 670 miles away from us. Again, sustained winds at 50, gusts to 65. Moving to the north now. It's taken a turn from the northwest to the north. It's expected to continue to turn right, which will take Bonnie more towards the northeast tomorrow. Now, overnight tonight for us, a few scattered showers. We could see some rain even in the morning hours, and certainly be some scattered showers and storms tomorrow afternoon as Bonnie develops into a hurricane tomorrow and then moves more to the northeast. This front and the upper level trough, the dip in the jet stream, will turn Bonnie quickly to the northeast, so it should be making landfall as a hurricane in the Florida Panhandle on Thursday and then passing close but likely just to the north and west of the Jacksonville metro area. So we'll likely see some wet weather and some breezy conditions, and we'll try to get more particulars on the extent of that as time goes on. Here's a look at your forecast. Wet weather for the next several days. Again, Thursday, we'll likely see Bonnie pass close by, and then Saturday into Sunday, we could be feeling the effects of Charley. By next week, we begin to clear out with temperatures back in the 90s.
Thanks, Brad. Now here's Mark Steines to tell us what's coming up after the break on Entertainment Tonight.
Sam, Lauren, coming up on Entertainment Tonight. Is the Donald bankrupt? Trump comes to ET station.
And finally tonight, sailors coming into Jacksonville will soon have a religious welcome.
The Catholic Diocese of St. Augustine dedicated a new Seafarers Center at Talleyrand this afternoon. The center will provide merchant sailors from around the world with religious services, counseling, and other programs. The center has operated out of a van at Talleyrand for the past 18 years, but a new grant has allowed them to build the brand new center at the port. Bishop Gallioni there making the dedication at Talleyrand today for a new religious center.
Thank you so much for joining us for Eyewitness News at 6:30. I'm Lauren Freeman.
I'm Sam Tavares. Lauren and I will be back at 11. Tom and Mary will be here for Eyewitness News at 10. Join us then.